You are a heavily armed infantryman in the Greek coalition. August 480 BC. The temperature is about 35 degrees. On you, but wrapped in a bronze frame weighing nearly 30 kilograms, you are standing in a love mount that is only 14 meters wide, and on the left, it's a steep, almost vertical cliff. And on the right is Maria Bay. There are hundreds around the big men who haven't bathed for more than 10 days. Sour smell pungent, but you don't care about that because 100 meters in front of you, earth tremor. It was the footsteps of 200,000 whole army. Look around from the horizon to the coastline, all dressed in different ethnic costumes, soldiers with a variety of weapons, like a colorful tsunami with no end in sight, is about to put you along with the hundreds of Spartan muscle men behind you, padded into meat puree together. With 5,000 wars, understanding 5,000 years of human civilization. This is episode 0029, Hot War, Hot Springs View Battle, 5,000 years, 5,000 full force games. If you were, how many choices have you made right now? Can you have the last laugh? There are 4,971 episodes left until the finale. Your support and forwarding are the driving force for us to persevere. The first picture of the imperial beast and the city-state stall. 480 BC. We in China are at the end of the spring and autumn period. Kong Laofu is 71 years old. I just finished editing a history book in the state of Lu. The book is called Chuanqiu, the land of China. At this time, the princes fought fiercely for hegemony. Keep looking west. Indian subhighway Sakyamuni should still be under the Bodhi tree or lecture around the Aconcagua. And when we put the camera translation to the Middle East and the Mediterranean, you will see a pang. It's so big it makes your scalp tingle. Giant war machine. Achaemenid dynasty of Persia. The territory of the Persian Empire spanned 3 continents: Asia, Africa, and Europe, from today's Indus Valley all the way to the Balkans. According to estimates by modern demographers, the population of the Persian Empire at that time around 50 million. You know? At that time, the total population of the world was 110 million. That is to say, King Xerxes I of Persia, one man, ruled over 44% of humanity on earth at that time. What about Greece, on the other hand? Greece is not a country at all, it's a geographical concept. On this land, more than 1,000 city-states, large and small, are scattered. They don't usually like each other. For a few sheep or a few acres of olive groves, you can swing your fists and fight each other now. Xerxes I of Persia was filled with rage. Imperial drive. 10 years ago, his father, Deluti, overturned during the Battle of Marathon. This time, Xerxes not only wants to retrieve the factory and completely turn the Aegean Sea into a Persian lake. Assume the true size of the Persian army. It's 2,300,000. This 300,000 consumes at least 600,000 liters of drinking water per day. What's worse is the problem of excretion. 300,000 plus tens of thousands of Romans. 150 tons of manure is produced in situ every day, if not dealt with in time in 35-degree heat, for less than a week. Cholera and the Persian army would soon be destroyed, sent to meet their god. So there is only one option for Xerxes' advance. You have to stick to the coast. The army is marching ashore. The navy followed with supplies, which brings us to the hot spring officers. Geocode: Greek allied forces. If you want to be on the plain, fight the 300,000 that's hitting an egg with a stone. They open the map. Eyes locked on northern Greece. Entering the throat of central Greece, Thermal Pass has mountains on one side and the sea on the other. In the middle is a narrow channel only 14 meters wide. The Persian military advantage was completely wiped out here. They can only travel like sent to the front in waves. Thermopylae is Greek, with the folds of the Earth's surface selected for the Persians' death funnel. The second picture shows the crushing of the bronze team's rattan, if geography is a foreign voice. Then the substitution of weapons and equipment. It's this battle that becomes the inner sound of the meat grinder. Let's compare the hardware parameters of both parties. Look at the defender first. Greek heavy infantry led by Sparta. This is a pure steel for the front arms borne in their hands. The brass-clad round, with a wooden tire 90 centimeters in diameter, weighs up to 10 kilograms. This shield is not designed to stop arrows, but to push in actual combat. The soldier covered himself with the left half of the shield. The right half covers the right comrade, forming an airtight wall of copper and iron. The main weapon in their hands, it is a long one between 2.4 meters and 3 meters. Ash long hair is iron. The fur tail is bronze. Once the hair is broken, it can continue to poke upside down. Plus weight: a dozen kilograms of bronze breastplates and close guards. A Spartan infantry outfit. The total weight is close to 30 kilograms. Look at the attack room. The infantry of the Persian Empire. The Persian army adapts to mobile warfare in the Great Plains of Asia. The way they are used to playing is first scatter the enemy with an overwhelming array of bows and arrows, then the chain infantry and cavalry rush to harvest. So the standard configuration of Persian infantry is a cane shield woven in wicker and leather, a piece of soft armor made of linen, and a short hair less than 2 meters long, or machete. The two armies ended up at the 14-meter-wide thermal pass crash in the narrow passage. The shields of the soldiers in the front row of both sides are tightly pressed together. The soldiers in the back did everything in their power push forward the backs of your comrades in the front row. Greeks with an equipment chassis weighing up to 30 kilograms and heavy copper shields occupy an absolute quality advantage in the push. The Persian soldiers in the front row discovered my own short hair can't reach the Greeks at all. The Greeks have 3 meters of long hair from the crack of the bronze shield stab out like a viper. Persian vine shield in front of Greek iron hair, its papery pierce it, and the Persian scimitar on the bronze breastplate of a Spartan. Only a white mark can be left. That's why in the first 2 days of the war the Persian army felt like weak. Day 1 Xerxes sent out the Enigma and was slaughtered. The next day Xerxes was furious, sent out his most elite ace force, the undead. The so-called undead army was the Persian Empire kept 10,000 full standing army of the border. If you die, make up for it immediately. They were wearing bling, better equipped than the average infantry, but in front of the Greek bronze phalanx the result still hasn't changed. Third, the prisoner's dilemma of the king of Sparta. We need to stop and think about a question. King Leonidas of Sparta, why bring 300 Spartans with you to guard this mortal pass? Sparta at that time facing a huge internal contradiction. Persian army pressure Sparta, but he came up with a reason that made people laugh and cry. We are celebrating Cania according to religious laws, no freezing during festivals. Is this bullshit? Yes and no. Sparta has always pursued conservative isolationism. Many Spartans felt that the Persians are going to fight Athens. What does it have to do with us? We just retreat to the south, the Peloponnese Peninsula, build a wall under columns. The Persians couldn't beat them. But Leonidas 60 doesn't think so. He knows very well if Sparta doesn't send troops this time the Greek union would collapse immediately. Once Athens surrendered, deliver a powerful navy to Persia, the Persians can bypass under columns from the sea, landing directly in the Spartan backyard. But Leonidas couldn't convince those rigid domestic elder, so he took a gamble. He selected 300 the Spartan Golden Guard, who had given birth to a son in the name of the king's personal guard, patrolling the front pole and other city-state troops. Along the way about 7,000 people came to the spa. Leonidas put himself and these 300 people became a hostage who forced Sparta to fight. If he holds, he was the hero who saved Greece. Return home with supreme prestige, completely suppress the opposition. If he dies according to the Spartan code of honor, the king died in battle. The entire city-state must take revenge with all its might. Leonidas sacrificed his life between the tracks of Persia and the gates of Sparta, pulled a thunder and a half. As long as the Persians trample him to death, the entire Spartan war machine will be destroyed. Start the fourth myth, the birth of a stronger fortress. It's often broken from the inside. Day 3. Here comes the little guy who changed history. His name was Ephialtes, a local Greek farmer. Under the lure of great wealth, he ran to inform Xerxes. On the side of the main isle of Thermopylae there is a path taken by shepherds. On a trail you can go directly behind the Greek defenders. From ancient times to the present there is never a shortage of such guides. When the Persian army carried torches walking down that path late at night, Leonidas received a desperate report from the Red Queen. At that moment, the 60-year-old king made the final decision of his life. He ordered the dissolution of the Greek coalition. Now that the flanks have been exposed, it's only a matter of time before you get caught between two sides. There's no need for everyone to stay and die. Main force retreats, preserve the tinder of Greek vengeance, but Leonidas himself and his 300 Spartans, he stayed. A historical detail must be clarified here. Stayed to die not just 300 Spartans at that time, and 700 volunteers from Thespians, and 400 divs. The divs were detained then surrendered, but those 700 Thespians is really willing to stay, accompanied the Spartans to hell. In the grand narrative of the future, these 700 ordinary people are often deliberately forgotten. This is undoubtedly the prejudice of history. The final stage of the battle has moved beyond the realm of tactics, turned into pure hand-to-hand combat, and biting when the Persian army came up from the front and back. Spartans and Thespians retreated to a small hill overgrown with trees. All their long hair has been broken off. The shield is broken. According to Herodotus, these exhausted warriors drew their daggers. If the dagger is cut, hit it with your fist, bite with your teeth. Leonidas died in the chaos to snatch the king's body. The Spartans erupted into battle. Like beasts, forcefully repelled the Persians 4 times, retrieved the mutilated body, and finally, Xerxes also seems to be interested in this kind of hand-to-hand combat. Feel fear. He ordered the infantry to be withdrawn, keep the archers at a safe distance. With overwhelming sword rain ended the lives of hundreds of people. The swordsman who reigned that day, really like a Spartan, as joke before the war blinded the sun. Hot spring pass lost. The 5th one. The dark truth about Sparta. Later Western politicians and Hollywood blockbusters especially like to package Thermopylae as a free camp. The great battle against the dictatorship of the East. The Spartans were heralded as free, the patron saint of the world. But what is the truth? The true history of Sparta, not a beacon of freedom at all. It was an extremely brutal military operation. Slavery state. Leonidas, why did you bring only 300 Praetorian guards to the front line? Sparta had tens of thousands of elite infantry. Why do the elders in the country refuse to send troops? Is it really because of the holiday? Not at all. They are guarding against thieves inside Sparta. There was an extremely large slave population. It's called a black cell. These are the native peoples that the Spartans conquered. In what was then Sparta, what is the proportion of the population between citizens and slaves? 1:7, which is a Spartan uncle to suppress 7 black cells. To prevent these slaves from rebelling, the Presbyterian Church in Sparta holds a meeting every year. Horrible massacre. They will legally declare war on Hercules in the fall, send the young Spartans to hunt down the strongest looking ones at night. The smartest slave, Leonidas, dared not take the main force out. It's because he just left on his front foot. 7 black cells in the back foothouse will bring the remaining Spartan alive. Spilled those in. The hot spring official shouted for freedom. Spartan muscular man who died in battle. They are in the country. All are slave owners who brutally oppressed slaves. They defended it to the death. It was simply the Spartans who oppressed the freedom of others. This is the dialectics of history. Although the Persian Empire was an absolute monarch, but Xerxes treated the conquered territories. As long as you pay your taxes on time, he allows you to preserve your religion and culture. In Sparta, the place that advertises the freedom of the state, but based on the most extreme of its kind, physical annihilation. Chapter 6. Fate showdown. From a pure military perspective, was the Battle of Thermopylae a failure? Without a doubt, yes. The Greeks lost the gate, and the Greek door opened interactively not long after the Persian army marched and burned down the city of Athens. But from a strategic and political perspective, hot spring officer, it was an immeasurable victory. He paid a very small price, holding the pace of the Persian army for 3 days, evacuate the Athenian army and civilians to the sea, bought precious time. But here's the thing. He created a mental totem. This battle sending a strong message to the entire Greek world. Strong signal. Persians are not gods. They also bleed, also fear. The death of those 300 Spartans was like a hammer. The scattered Greek city-states smashed into an iron plate at the former site of the hot spring. Official. Later generations erected a famous stone tablet engraved with the swan song of the poet Simonides. Passengers, please bring a message to the Spartans. Said, we kept our promise. Sleep here. This is a sentence without the slightest emotion. The epitaph of Helios shell. With the fall of the hot spring officer, the torrent of Persian armies marched towards Athens. But what Xerxes didn't know was the soul of Athens did not perish as the city burned. In Salamis Bay of one seat pavilion, Admiral of the Athens Navy Timmy Stockley staring at the vast armada of Persia playing.
烧毁了雅典城，但如果站在战略和政治的高度，温泉关却是一场难以估量的巨大胜利。他用极少量的代价迟滞了波斯军队3天的步伐，为雅典军民撤离到海上争取了极其宝贵的时间。更重要的是，他制造了一个精神图腾。这场战斗向整个希腊世界传递了。